Hey homeschool friends, welcome to today's video. I am so excited to make this video for you guys. I feel like there are not that many videos on YouTube about Sonlight language arts. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. So my plan is to show you flip throughs. So I have Sonlight Language Arts K, I have grade 1, and then I have grade 2. So I have 3 programs to flip through for you today. And so in that I'm going to be showing you the instructor's guide, the activity guides, and all the manipulatives that come with the programs. And then I'm going to conclude the video by chatting a bit about what I liked about the programs, what I think are some of its strong points, and maybe a few of its weak points as well. So I hope this is interesting to you and very helpful. So hi, my name is Angie. Welcome to my channel if you are new here, or welcome back if you have been coming for a while. Like I said, this video is about Sonlight Language Arts programs, especially the younger years, which is what I have been using. And I've been using the level K with my 6-year-old and the level 1 with my 7-year-old. And so they are, I feel like, on the higher end of both of those levels. And so take that into account when you hear what I have to say about the programs, is the age of my kids. But I do want to put in some disclaimers before I get too far. The first big, rather large disclaimer is we did not use the phonics and spelling from the Sonlight Language Arts program. And I feel like that is a lot of what people are really interested in knowing, is like, how's the phonics program? How does it teach reading? How does it teach spelling? I don't know. We have been using All About Reading and really loving All About Reading, and so we just did not switch. And I don't feel bad about that. That's not why we chose the Sonlight Language Arts. And I will get a little bit more into what inspired me to pick up this program at the end. But just know we did not use it for phonics or spelling. I will link below a couple of different channels of ladies who do use it, in case you are asking that question of how well does it teach my kids to read. So I will link those below. My second disclaimer is, well, I kind of already mentioned it. It's the age of my kids. So I'm using it on a little bit of the higher end. So level 1, for instance, I'm using with my 7, almost 8-year-old. And level K, I'm using with my 6.5-year-old. So that's a little bit more on level. So I'm going to flip the camera around and show you the programs. I'm not going to go through every week, but I'm going to try and give you maybe 6 different weeks from each program so you can see how it's set up. I'm going to look through some of the readers, some of the manipulatives, so I hope this is useful. All right, I'm going to flip around. So I'm going to start with level K Language Arts. And so here's the instructor's guide, and then it comes with this book, My First Picture Dictionary. As you're working through each letter, you look through this book. It's very cute, very basic. So we have liked this a lot. And then it comes with a couple of manipulatives. So it comes with an alphabet bingo card and some tokens to go with that. And then these cards go A to Z, which are just alphabet cards. So it comes with those as kind of manipulatives. And then it comes with these books, the Fun Tale books. And they're just small books that the kids can easily read as they're instructed to. So I'll show you where the reader's schedule is, but that's what these books look like. So let me take you through Language Arts K. And so I pulled out a number of different weeks, and most of them I have the activity sheets still for, but some I don't, and I'll just show you that. Okay, so I zoomed in a bit so you can see a little bit better. So this is week 3 of Language Arts K, and it has this broken into phonics and spelling, handwriting, and creative expression. And so phonics and spelling, like I said, we really didn't use. But if you were to use it, you're pretty much learning 1 letter a week. And then there's the pages in the My First Dictionary. Then there's language and phonics activities, which I'll show you when we get into the instructor's guide. And then there's the optional Get Ready for the Code, which it doesn't come with the kit, but it recommends you use it if you are, especially if you are using the phonics from Sonlight. And then the handwriting that is also optional, doesn't come in the kit, is handwriting without tears. And so those are that, and then the creative expression. So this is really what we used. And here's the 4-day schedule. And so I will show you what that looks like. So as you look into your instructor's guide, you will see that first it has the language and phonics activities, and it gives you different activity ideas, and it talks through what to say to your kids and how to start the conversation. And then creative expression is down here, and it starts with copy work 1. So it says on week 3 activity sheet. And so I pulled out week 3 activity sheet, and it looks like this. And it actually gives you 2 different options. So on the first side, it gives you the handwriting without tears lines for making your uppercase M, because this is the week of learning M, or it gives you the Getty Dubé handwriting. And so it looks like that. So that's the activity sheet. So this would be their copy work 1 for day 1. So they would do that 6 times, starting on the dot. And so then you can see, for day 10, it then says to circle the picture. And that just means go to your activity sheet again, and it says circle the object whose name begins with the letter M. So on average, when you're looking at language arts for Sonlight, especially what I have found, is it starts with copy work on the first day. The second day is more application or grammar type stuff. And then the third day is when you're doing your creative writing. And the fourth day is the second copy work. So moving on to the third day, it's called Bolt Buddies. So this is an example of a creative expression activity for the kindergarten level. And so this is basically what they would do is they would look at this picture. There it is. Here's the Bolt Buddies activity. So they'd look at this picture, and this box here that is in red is what you would read. You can read it kind of verbatim, or you can paraphrase it, but it says like, let's look at this picture. Under Bolt Buddies, on your activity sheet, what do you see? What do you think is happening? Today you're going to write a story and tell me what happened in this picture. First, let's talk about what you see. And there's different pictures like, how do you think the boy met the robot? What time of year do you think it is? Things like that. So you chat about it, you write some of that stuff down, and then it says when you're done brainstorming, and if they are ready to dictate a story to you, you can write it down. Or you can type it on a computer, which is sometimes what I did. They really enjoyed that. And so that would be the first draft. You'd go through things again, and that would be the assignment. So it is really basic, and it does not take very long, but I really liked how I was a major part of the assignment. It wasn't just like, okay, go journal about something, you know what I mean? It was very intentional, if you will. And then the last day is another copy work. So here's copy work 2, work on your M's again, it says. So that is an example of early in the kindergarten program, week 3. Okay, now to go through a little bit quicker. So I pulled out week 11, and it's the same thing. You're learning a letter, getting the pages. Here's the phonics activities if you're doing phonics. Explode the code, handwriting. And then it started bringing in the Fun Tales books. Actually, it started on week 10. I realized it's week 11, so you're reading book number 2, and you read it all week. And there's a whole other packet that comes with like reading K, and it comes with this stuff where it tells you what to read here, and it things to talk about. And then again, creative expression. Copy work 1, application, and this is the writing, creative writing, and then copy work 2. And let me show you what I mean by when it says copy work application, because I actually don't have the activity guides for this one, but it would have the copy work from day 1, and then you go back to that copy work and you do some activities with it, like underline the name, circle the words that rhyme with fib, put a box around the vowels, things like that. So that's more application, more grammar. And then again, it goes into your creative expression, and this is what you read out loud. They do give you these kind of rubrics or checklists. I don't worry too much about them. I look at them and see what are some expectations for this age, but they're pretty minimal. Like, did your child do a good job brainstorming? Was it mostly her ideas, sort of idea? Week 17, it's looking similar. So now you've learned all those letters, and then O, you go through, and they're on reader 8. Oh, and in this example, their creative expression is a well-known character. And so you're going to have the child reenact or kind of narrate their favorite story. And here's activity sheets for that. So again, pretty similar. Copy work 1, some application, circling, things like that. And then a well-known character, copy work 2. So you can see that this does follow a pretty good pattern. So I might skip ahead. I brought out 22. What else did I bring out? 34. We'll skip to 34. So the end of level K, learn all those letters. There's some activities. You're on the 25th book, and you're still doing copywork, application, story, copywork. In this case, the story is the painting story. And in this case, you're having your child use their imagination to come up with a story that goes with a really nice picture or painting. And so that's always fun too. So that, and here's the, so you can see the words got a little bit longer by the end. And you can see the copy work 2 is actually a full sentence. So that brings us to the end of Language Arts K. And so you can see kind of how it's set up. I hope that helps. Let me move on to Language Arts 1. So for Language Arts 1, this is what we have, is we have the instructor's guide, and in this case you're getting sight word bingo cards, so not alphabet bingo cards, but sight word bingo cards. And I think it might also come with the tokens. I'm not sure if you have to do that. And then here's some blending cards. Here are all the readers. So you can see this is just a wonderful stack. I have really enjoyed these with my son. And the first 4, or I guess the first 3, are these I Can Read It books, which were written by the authors of the program. So they very much coincide with the Sonlight approach to teaching phonics. And then these ones are more real books, not readers, so they're a lot of Dr. Seuss books. I feel like that's a little bit unique, where these are kind of the only specific reader for this program, and then it uses real books, which my kids just really like real books as opposed to readers sometimes. I'm sure yours do too. So, Language Arts 1. I'm going to zoom in again. First thing to notice, I actually bought this used, and somebody just checked off when they finished everything, and they did use all of it. They used the spelling words as well as all the phonics, handwriting, and now it actually assigns the readers in the instructor's guide and the creative expression. So you can see the grade got quite a bit larger or more involved when you're talking week 3 of Language Arts 1. And so let me take you through this again. And here it talks about spelling. They have the spelling words. Here are the words for the week and the sight words for the week. And then they have a way of teaching it every week. I think it's like write it big, write it small, something like that. And they do that consistently throughout the year. So that's if you were using the spelling, that would be how you would do it. And then here's the phonics and all the phonics activities, and then creative expression. And so this gets to the same idea. So you have copywork 1. So let me show you the difference between copywork 1 of Language Arts 1 versus kindergarten. And so this is quite a bit more work. You can see that it's a much larger passage. So that's important to consider. This is only week 3 for Language Arts 1. So think about that as you're thinking about kind of the age of your kid or what they're capable of. That's copywork 1. What's going on here is that the grammar is teaching dialogue. How does dialogue work in text? And so this is what you talk about, and you actually are pretending to be different people in the story, or especially the readers. So a lot of times the copywork and other assignments, such as this dialogue assignment, come from the characters in the reader that the kids are reading, which I really liked and my son really liked as well. And then here is to dictate dialogue. And so that in this case, you learned about dialogue, now you're going to actually write some dialogue yourself, like pretend dialogue. So it's another kind of creative expression mixed with grammar sort of assignment. And then in this case, on day 12, it says write backwards. So it's writing some words backwards. And so here's the example where they would take this word and write it backwards, map, Pam, sort of thing. And here's copywork 2 for Language Arts 1. So that's just week 3. And you can see it follows a similar pattern in week 12. In this case, they're starting by alphabetizing, learning to alphabetize, and then the writing is an imagination story. What I do like about the writing is that it varies. So this time it's an imagination story, other times it's more like research-based or serious-based story. And then I forgot to show you this for week 3, but this is the I Can Read It book. So this is your readers, and here's some comprehension questions that you can ask after they finish reading, just to make sure that they're understanding what they're reading. And then here's the copywork. And so this is the alphabetized part of the worksheet where you're creating a phone directory and then alphabetizing it. And then you can see there's also this word cards list for day 46. And I'll pull that back out. So that's not actually creative expression. That's a phonics activity. Day 46, you're going to play sight word bingo 2 and find the instructions in the packet. And you're going to use some of these words cards to supplement your bingo game. So there are a lot of different activities, which I really appreciated about Sonlight. And so 18 looks like it does about the same thing. I'm going to skip forward a little bit. So week 27 is kind of the same thing. Spelling, introduce, write it big, write it small, mix it up. That's what I was saying. And then all the phonics stuff. And in here are your readers. By now they're in another book called The Best Trick. And here's copywork, grammar, homophones, imagination story, and copywork. So creative expression with copywork 1. So it's good. They do bring back some review. You're reviewing capitalization of days of the week, months of the year, things like that. And then homophones, you're learning the no, there, and there. And then an imagination story. And it says pick one of these activities to do today. Pick up picture books you haven't read and have them try and figure out the story, things like that. And then you have some word card sheets which go with this day 4. So you're talking compound words, and so they're gonna have to form the different compound words with those. So it's just more review and more practice on that idea. And I did want to show you, so here's what the copy work is looking like. So it hasn't gotten significantly longer yet. I'd say it stays pretty consistent throughout the first grade year or grade 1. Like for instance, here's the one for week 35. So I feel like that's a pretty good overview for language arts 1 for Sonlight. Let me hop into the last one I have before closing this all out. Okay, so here is language arts 2. This actually is the only one I have not used yet. I was able to pick up HBLB and language arts 2 used, so I jumped on it, and so I have it really early. But I can show it to you. And so here are the readers for level 2. So some Frog and Toad, some actually nonfiction, Nate the Great. So they're definitely getting a little bit longer. Some Amelia Bedelia, more Frog and Toad, Grig's Microscope, some more words per page, Mouse Tales, Frog and Toad, Owl at Home, and Pompeii, Buried Alive. And they're also reading through the Beginner's Bible. So that's all amazing readers, which I just love the fact that they're real books. So let's get into language arts 2. So as you can see, I have like the whole stack here because I haven't put it into my big binder yet. And so I'm just gonna flip through a couple different things. So we'll start again with week 3 here. And so like before, it has spelling and phonics up here, handwriting. Now there's adding vocabulary development. This is again another optional book. So this is Wordly Wise A. So they typically start in level 2 to start adding a separate vocabulary program. And then the readers here, it starts with the Beginner's Bible, and then here's Creative Expression. And so again, going into the instructor's guide, it gives you all the spelling and phonics days. Creative Expression starts with copy work 1, and then you can see the Creative Expression, which is on day 3. And actually it looks like there's 2 creative expressions for this week. So let me show you that. So here's copy work 1. So you can see the words are getting smaller and the sentences are getting a bit longer. Here is a copy work application. So in this case, it says to write a sentence and use 6 adjectives, which are descriptive words, to describe a favorite possession or some other thing. So you can see now they're getting more into language. So sentence structure, paragraph development, stuff like that. And then here it talks about dialogues. It says, try your hand at writing a simple dialogue on the lines below. Be creative and have fun. To help you get there, here's some potential conversation starters. It says, is this your platypus? Asked a zookeeper. And then the kid could write a response dialogue. And same with the idea of a fairy tale dialogue. So they're coming up with sentences in this case. So you can definitely see the progression from 1st grade to 2nd grade, just looking at that. So this is week 19. Again, it has all the Explode the Code, spelling phonics, and then copy work, application, and then it looks again like 2 creative expressions. And what I'm guessing is that on day 5, if you did get the 5-day language arts, it would have copy work too. But it looks like that's not the case for grade 2 or level 2. So the instructor guides has all the spelling and phonics, and then it has copy work application, where you're reviewing synonyms. So that's good, it's bringing some grammar in, as well as learning to write sentences. And then you have a mystery picture. And so in this case, it's having the student write a story based on what's happening in a picture. This way they're going to write a short story to go along with a story starter picture. It does give you a good eval kind of section. As they're getting older, I feel like I would definitely be using the evaluations a little bit more. And then here's copy work 1, that's the size of it. Here's the synonym copy work application. Here's answer the questions below as you're looking at the story starter picture, which is that, and then record your story that you started from before. Okay, this actually helps me understand. This is a 2-day assignment. So the first part is you're thinking about questions and you're brainstorming based on this picture, and the second day is you're taking that brainstorm and you're writing something. So that's important to know. You're not doing 2 separate creative expression assignments. So that has progressed. Let's see if that changes as we get out into the last week. You have spelling, all the things, Frog and Toad together is the reader. And then as you go into creative expression, It shows you have a copywork, and then it introduces possession and apostrophes to your child, which we've done. We just actually did that in level 1. So you see this is where the ideas kind of spiral back in year to year, which I really love about Sonlight. And then it says on day 143, you're actually brainstorming plot, characters, setting for a short sketch. So that's different and fun. It's almost like writing a play. And then you're going to write the sketch. So again, 2 days worth. So copywork, application, and then here's your brainstorm, and here's where you write it out. This didn't have it interspersed throughout, but here are all the readers, and then here are the comprehension questions that go with the readers that you pull out on the weeks you need them. So that is level 2. I realize this is getting really long, so I'm going to flip this around and end the video. Okay guys, I hope that was helpful. That's a lot of stuff, I know, and it's such a wonderful program. So I want to talk a little bit more about my experience. So what brought me to Sonlight Language Arts? So it was a couple things. One, I was really inspired by this talk I heard on one of the Sonlight online conferences where she was talking about using Sonlight Language Arts with her kids the whole way. And she was talking about kind of the heart behind the program. And it is a gentle program. And there is a book, it's I think the 3 R's by Ruth Beechuk or something like that. I will put it below. I'll put a link to it below. That really is the heart of the Sonlight Language Arts program, and it is different from a lot of other programs. It is a lot gentler, especially in the terms of, I believe, phonics, how phonics is taught, as well as the writing and grammar. It's just a lot less, but it's still a very robust program. And I'll get into that in just a second. And so her talk really inspired me. But the second and probably the bigger thing is the way Sonlight is organized with its HBLs, or its History Bible Literatures, which we love. Like, I am so excited to keep using those. Is when it hits HBLD, so that's like 4th grade, the readers start coinciding with the history. And so the program is no longer teaching phonics and how to read. Now it's teaching more grammar and writing and things like that. So what I like about it is it takes language arts and it starts linking that all to all the stuff you're learning in history and Bible and all the read alouds, all the literature you're reading as a family. And it also has the readers for the kids. And so that all starts linking at about 4th grade. And so I wanted to start laying that foundation for grammar and creative expression that's taught in a Sonlight manner. And so I wanted to ease them into that before they hit 4th grade. And then that is all kind of together, if that makes sense. So that was why I chose it. That's why I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this, because a lot of the program reminds me of a well-trained mind and lots of copy work, things like that. And I was loving well-trained mind, but I really wanted to set them up to just use Sonlight as it is so cohesive in the future. So that's why I decided to give it a shot. As for what I think about it, again, I know nothing about the phonics or the spelling, but when it comes to the other things, so kind of the copywork, grammar, and early creative expression, that is what we have been using. And my thoughts on that. So I appreciate copywork. I appreciate copywork in the sense that it's not just handwriting. It's not just like, okay, practice your letters. It is that. I mean, they're practicing their handwriting, but it's more than that. They're able to pull out different things from the readers or read aloud different sentences. And the instructor's guide helps me walk through that copywork passage in a way that makes sense. So we can focus on capital letters, apostrophe S's, whatever it is. We can be like, do you see that? Do you see how they use the comma there? Do you see some of the things that we're learning that we're also reading? So I liked that connection there. And I felt like the copywork for my son was just right in level 1 or grade 1. I always forget what it is. But it might be a little much for like a young 6-year-old. I think my daughter would not appreciate it as a young 6-year-old to write those big copywork passages, but him as like a 7.5-year-old, he does really well. I feel like it's just the right amount for him. As for the readers, I loved the readers. I thought they were really good. It's hard because they didn't link into my phonics reading program, but I used them more as my afternoon reading, like homework reading, if you will. It's just the second time in the day that I wanted my kids to read. I would often pull out the Sonlight readers and we would go through those. And I know where my kids are phonetically speaking, like what they can read. And so I would just kind of pick and choose the books accordingly. It didn't follow a schedule just because we weren't following the Sonlight schedule for learning to read. But I still appreciated the readers. I especially loved the grade 1 readers, all the Dr. Seuss, I just love. But overall, I really loved the gentle approach. I love the spiral approach. Since I was doing multiple levels, I saw that similar assignments would keep coming up. There was this creative writing assignment in kindergarten, and then it looped back around, and that similar assignment was also in first grade. It was just a little different, a little bit more advanced. And so they do that. They are gentle in the sense that it's not a ton of work, but it keeps coming back. So the reinforcement will come as you progressively use the program. What's funny is I honestly worry that it might be a little too laid back for me personally. As a teacher, I have found my style to need a little bit more hand-holding, a little bit more more instruction, if you will, so that I can pare it back as opposed to not quite knowing what I'm doing. But I can see trusting the Sonlight language art process will get you really far. And so I hope this little flip through helped you decide if it's a good fit for your family or not. Please ask me any questions down below. Again, I used it in a very specific manner, and I will link the other YouTubers who use it a bit more broadly, like the whole program. So that is what I have for this video. And if you found it helpful, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that stuff. And otherwise, I will see you in the next homeschool video. All right, have a wonderful day.